What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Okay, so we're currently at war. Yeah, that might come as a shock to you. You might not have known that. Yeah, we're currently at war with a gang in the United States. Tren de Aragua has infiltrated our country, and these activist judges. Okay, so now that you guys, I'm sure you've heard about these judges getting arrested in, what was that? I think Arizona and Wisconsin, I believe. You know, don't quote me on that. I know one of them was Wisconsin. I think the other was in Arizona, but two judges getting arrested. One for harboring Tren de Aragua, and the other for actually sneaking a Tren de Aragua guy out of the courtroom so he wouldn't get detained by ICE. Okay, so now that's kind of shocking, don't you think? Kind of shocking. Yeah, they have infiltrated this country, folks, and you wonder why we have all these nationwide injunctions. You got to think, especially with Boasberg and Paula Zenas. You know, I think Boasberg was the guy that imposed the nationwide injunction for the Alien Enemies Act. You got to kind of wonder now, maybe we should investigate this guy to see if he's in league with Tren de Aragua or MS-13 or any of these other gangs. Because, you know, think about it for a second. In the interest of national security, of your safety, as a matter of fact, Donald Trump has taken the step to expedite these people and get them out of here, to, you know, get them out of the country expeditiously, if you will. And why would a judge stop that? Oh, we need due process for people that's not supposed to be here? Since when did that ever make sense? Since when do you get to come into a country illegally, undetected in some cases, and then when you get caught, you have to go through this lengthy court proceeding to get out? Doesn't make much sense, does it? Check this out, y'all. Tren de Aragua in league with Maduro, Gabbard and Patel say, after illegal classified leaks. Now, if you guys remember, a little while back, we covered an article that I might not have covered it, as a matter of fact. Admonish me down in the comments section. I'm not sure if I covered that article or not, but I did read the article. And it was of a bunch of unnamed sources, as it always is, right? Unnamed sources coming out that were supposed to be from the intelligence community. Unnamed sources come out and say, oh, that no, Tren de Aragua, no, they're not being controlled by Maduro, by Venezuela. Well, that's fascinating, isn't it? And there's no evidence to say so. Even though in that article they did say that, you know, in the Venezuelan government, that Tren de Aragua has a lot of ties to a lot of politicians and a lot of bureaucrats in the Venezuelan government, they still said that, oh, they're not being controlled by Maduro. And they use that word control. Well, you know, that's subjective, if you will, but that is to put out a narrative to say that Tren de Aragua is just a gang. They weren't sitting here by Maduro. Well, hang on, now we're getting conflicting stories because, you know, it could be as simple as Maduro comes to these people and says, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to let you guys out of prison. But you got to do one thing. You got to go to the United States and live your lives. Create chaos, if you will. And then they do so. Is that the Venezuelan government controlling these people? Abso-freaking-lutely not. So that would be a truthful statement. There you go. They told the truth. But they left out some context that they were actually sent here. Well, they weren't necessarily sent here, right? Because he says, go to the United States. They didn't have to come to the United States. They could have went anywhere they wanted to, but they came to the United States, infiltrated our country, took over apartment complexes, for crying out loud, and clearly were in the pocket of some judges in this country. It's insane, y'all. But let's get into this story. The leaders of the FBI and the Office of Director of National Intelligence are insisting that the gang Tren de Aragua works in coordination with the regime of Venezuelan strongman Nicolas Maduro following twisted and illegal classified leaks, which claimed that at least some spy agencies did not believe this to be the case. ODNI's director, Tulsi Gabbard, pictured above, yeah, there was a picture, blah, 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 were prompted to publicly argue that the Venezuelan gang, also called Aragua Train, or just TDA, is in fact linked to the Maduro regime after purported classified leaks in recent days. The leaks allegedly revealed the U.S. intelligence community's National Intelligence Council cast doubt on the idea that TDA is cooperating with Venezuela's socialist leader Maduro, the successor to dictator Chavez. Hugo Chavez, sorry. I don't know why I overlooked Hugo for a second. Oops. Sorry about that, y'all. Leaks attempt to undermine Trump's stance. Over the weekend, the Washington Post cited unnamed people familiar with the matter. You'll love that. Oh, it's unnamed people. They're just familiar with the matter. You know what? When they say it like that, you know, guys, when you're reading the news, watch out for that, because what that could mean anything. That could be me. Oh, I'm familiar that Tren de Aragua's in the country, and that they come from Venezuela, and they could be controlled by Maduro, for crying out loud. I could be familiar with that. As a matter of fact, that doesn't say a damn thing. You got to watch out for that, because this is trying to, it's like a fake appeal to authority, if you will. They're trying to force an appeal to authority from somebody that doesn't have said authority. As a matter of fact, that's what they do. You got to watch the wordage, y'all. It's fascinating how they word these things. People familiar with the matter when reporting that the National Intelligence Council, drawing on the acumen of the U.S.'s 18 intelligence agencies, determined in a secret assessment early this month that the Venezuelan government is not directing an invasion of the United States by the prison gang Tren de Aragua. Yeah, of course they're not, because they're still in Venezuela. How can they direct the gang when they're not in the country? But once again, it could be as simple as you people go to the United States and cause chaos. What do you think a bunch of gang members are going to do? You're letting us out of prison? Sure. Go right ahead. I wonder why they let them out of prison, too. That's fascinating, don't you think? So they could say, oh, crime is great over here. We don't have anybody in our prisons. That's something that they would pull. They do things like that, folks. They do things just to manipulate the statistics. The outlet contended that the intelligence product found that although there are some low-level contacts between the Maduro government and Tren de Aragua, the gang does not operate at the direction of Venezuela's leader. Right, because they're not in contact with each other. He just told them to go to the United States and cause chaos. He's not directing anything. Insane, y'all. It is insane, the cover-up, the links they go to cover up their wordage. The ODNI told the Post over the weekend that Trump took necessary and historic action to safeguard our nation when he deported these violent Tren de Aragua terrorists, and that now that America is safer without these terrorists in our cities, deep state actors have resorted to using their propaganda arm to attack the president's successful policies. Last month, the New York Times also cited unnamed officials familiar with the matter when reporting that a late February intelligence report summarized the shared judgment of the nation's spy agencies that the gang was not controlled by the Venezuelan government. The outlet said that the intelligence assessment concluded that TDA was not directed by Venezuela's government or committing crimes in the United States on its orders, right? Because that would mean that, Maduro would have to have specifically ordered them to commit a specific crime. If he just said, go cause chaos, he's not ordering them to do anything, is he? Gotta watch the wordage, y'all. Gotta watch the wordage. The outlet said the intelligence agencies had a moderate confidence in their assessment, with some supporting points put at low confidence. Moderate confidence. So this is all just made up, as a matter of fact. If they're not stating facts when they say things like this, they're just kind of moderately confident that they're not being directly directed by the director of Venezuela, for crying out loud. With some points at low confidence. That's fascinating, don't you think? All that is based upon speculation. There you go, folks. You gotta watch these people, man. They are snakes in the grass. And that was reported by the New York Times, a lot of corporate press outlets. That's the article that we covered, the one that the New York Times was citing here. So that was from about a month ago. And I think I covered that, but once again, I'm not 100% certain on that. I know I read the story. I just don't know if I covered it or not. I probably did. So I talk about the border and these issues all the freaking time. An anonymous official reportedly told the Times that the assessment also portrayed the gang as lacking the resources and being too disorganized, with little in the way of any centralized command and control to be able to carry out any government orders, and that the assessment says that while a handful of corrupt Venezuelan officials have ties to gang members, that does not amount to the gangs being under the sway of the government as a whole. Once again, folks, that's a whole lot of word salad nonsense to say, yeah, we don't think that's happening. But they have no freaking clue at all. And once again, folks, oh, they're too disorganized. Maybe it's intentional, right? Maybe it was just the Maduro saying, go to the United States and cause chaos. That's not organized at all. Of course he's not going to give them resources to do so. That would be insane. That would mean the destruction of his country. Because if that were to if it were to come out, if we could find paperwork or something that actually said that he sent Tren de Aragua here, I think with Trump, I think we might just go to war with Venezuela, as a matter of fact, which would be outright nuts. We would definitely send the CIA, and we would definitely have regime change over in Venezuela. It's insane how they use words to manipulate your thought process, folks. They do it on purpose. The leaks do not change ODNI's assessment. Gabbard said in a Monday evening tweet that the weaponization of intelligence to undermine the president's agenda is an assault on democracy. Those behind this illegal leak of classified intelligence, twisted and manipulated to convey the exact opposite finding, will be held accountable under the full force of the law. Rooting out this politicization of intelligence is exactly what President Trump campaigned on and what Americans overwhelmingly voted for. The Office of Director of National Intelligence fully supports the assessment that the foreign terrorist organization, Tren de Aragua, is acting with the support of the Maduro regime and thus subject to arrest, detention, and removal as alien enemies of the United States. The Trump administration designated TDA as a foreign terrorist organization in February. Trump, in March, then invoked the Alien Enemies Act of 1798 in an executive order and argued that the members of the Venezuelan gang unlawfully infiltrated the United States and are conducting irregular warfare and undertaking hostile actions against the United States, and that TDA is closely aligned with and indeed has infiltrated the Maduro regime, including its military and law enforcement apparatus. A senior intelligence official who declined to be named told Just the News this week that there were a number of facts based on intelligence that the illegal leakers and propaganda media conveniently did not include because it gets in the way of their biased narrative and attempts to deceive the American people. Gang provided with sanctuary. The senior intelligence official compared the Taliban's protection of al-Qaeda to the Maduro regime's facilitation of TDA. Right. Al-Qaeda was not directing the Taliban whatsoever. Taliban was not directing Al-Qaeda. They weren't controlling them. No, but they allowed them to operate within their country and do whatever the hell they wanted to do. And secretly funded them. It's insane. The fact that two judges have so far been found to assisting Tren de Aragua, as a matter of fact, speaks to that they were sent here for a purpose. To get in the pocket of judges, to get in the pocket of politicians, officials, law enforcement, anybody and everybody you can, to gain as much power as you can to keep these people here. They know that these Democrats in these sanctuary cities will capitulate to their whims. And then they can run amok, do whatever the hell they want to do, consolidate power within the United States. It's insane. The official told Just the News that examples include the U.S. going to war in Afghanistan against al-Qaeda because the Taliban government was providing al-Qaeda sanctuary. The Taliban were never assessed to be directing al-Qaeda's attacks. They provided al-Qaeda with sanctuary, which enabled the Islamist terrorist attack on our country on 9/11. The official also said that the Maduro regime clearly plays a similar role for TDA, resulting in armed TDA gangs violently seizing territory and entire apartment complexes in America, in addition to the rapes, murders, and human trafficking TDA is involved with. The senior intelligence official who declined to be named told Just the News this week that TDA leaders have historically been located in broadly benefited from conditions in Venezuela created by the Venezuelan government, and that the Venezuelan government gives sanctuary to TDA, aiding and abetting their crimes and terrorist activities against the United States by enabling them to thrive. That is right. That is what they do. And they do not do anything to try to stop these gangs. It's like Mexico. They don't do anything because they're scared, folks. It's terrorism. So the United States government says, we don't play those games. We will drop a bomb on your freaking head. And that's what Trump is attempting to do. And what do we get from the judiciary in this country? Nothing but roadblocks. Why? That's what I've been wondering for a long time. Some of these judges must be in the pocket of Tren de Aragua. Why would you want to give a terrorist organization due process? Doesn't make any sense, does it? Not in the least. So it makes you think, right? Like, once again, folks, take the time leap test, right? Go back 10 years and try to tell somebody what has been going on just since Trump got reelected. All these nationwide injunctions, Democrats stopping the administration from deporting terrorists, for crying out loud, getting on the side of criminals. They would think you're nuts. Absolutely think you're nuts. But look what's going on. That is not to mention, tell these people about everything since Trump got elected the first time. All the lawfare against him, arresting Trump, arresting his lawyers, January 6th, for crying out loud, the summer of love, the coronavirus, everything, folks. People would think you're one of these people, one of these homeless guys on the corner with a sign that says the end is nigh. They would think you're a freaking raving lunatic. But look where we're at, folks. 2 judges got caught assisting Tren de Aragua. One of them was harboring Tren de Aragua. His daughter was probably dating a Tren de Aragua gang member. Fascinating, isn't it? Very fascinating. Guy got caught harboring a criminal alien, a judge. Then another judge aided and abetted, trying to have this criminal alien escape from ICE. Let the criminal alien out through a jury room, out the back to the other side of the damn court. Yeah, he got caught. The judge got arrested. That's absurd. A judge. Insane, y'all. It really is. Blows my freaking mind. So the video's coming to an end. But y'all let me know what y'all think about all this. It's fascinating, y'all. It really is where we're at in this country with Democrats and what they're doing. They are absolutely freaking destroying themselves. It's insane. It really is, y'all. But y'all let me know what y'all think. Don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe, and all that goodly gock stuff. And y'all try to have a good day. Stay legitical. Peace.